something crazy.
Is that the same way with one?
Hey, stop, drop, and roll.
There we go. I didn't expect that. That kind of shocked me a little bit.
All right, welcome back to episode 3 of Need to Know. Today's guest, I'm excited for this one. We have Derek Shelton, the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. As a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, as a fan of sports in general, I'm really excited to have this conversation. This is also another episode where I'm making something that I've never made before, inspired by the guest. So we'll see how that works out. It worked out great in episode 2, but we'll see what happens. So thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. That kind of worries me, inspired by the guest, because my eating is pretty plain. So.
Well, so I'm going to tell you. So the way that I've been doing the episodes is I've been kind of kicking things off by telling you what we're making, and then I'll kind of go into prepping, and then we'll kind of get into the conversation. So what we're making today is one, kind of doing some Googling on you. I hope I'm not wrong. You're a bourbon drinker?
I am a bourbon drinker.
Okay,
yes.
So we're going to incorporate some bourbon into a like a bell pepper cream sauce, then with some roasted chicken, and then I figured it just makes sense. He's a baseball guy. Baseball guys love sunflower seeds, so we're going to do a sunflower seed pesto. So we're going to get these toasted up here. And again, hopefully this works out. I was very nervous for Cody's episode because, again, it was just, in episode 1, I was nervous because it was the first episode, but I knew we were making chicken parm gnocchi. I can do that with my eyes closed. With Cody's episode and now with your episode, I kind of have to think more about what I'm doing as I'm kind of carrying the conversation. So we'll see how it goes. So bear with me. But again, thanks for being here. I'm kind of excited to just dive into kind of who you are, where you're from, and kind of what it's like to be a manager of a baseball team, because it's such it's a unique position and there's not many of them. So I feel like a lot of people don't realize what it is. You know, I think a lot of sports fans in general were able to watch sports from like an elevated view of like not really understanding the game and understanding what goes into it. So you played baseball, right?
Yeah, I did. So I grew up in the northern suburbs of Chicago, like almost midway between Chicago and Milwaukee, which was great.
Yeah.
Because we could go to Cubs games, we could go to White Sox games, we could go to Brewer games. You know, we were in a situation where going north or south, we could get to a stadium, which was really cool. My father played in the minor leagues with the Orioles, and then was an educator for a long time.
Wow.
But the benefits of that were he played in the minor leagues with guys that ended up playing in the big leagues.
Gotcha.
Really easy to, especially back then, to call and say like, hey, can we get 4 tickets to go to, a Brewer game or a Cub game? So we were always going to games growing up.
Yeah.
And that was, really important, and probably the love and passion that I have for the game is because of that. He was a high school coach, and we were in a situation where we went to a lot of games. So I was very fortunate. Went to school in Carbondale, Illinois, Southern Illinois, which is where my family is actually originally from.
Okay.
And then was able to play for the Yankees for a few years in the minor leagues. And I think, to your point, like, not a very good player. So if you're not a very good player, you end up going into the coaching side of it.
Sure.
And started coaching, and hang on,
let me cut you off there. Not a really great player, but like, you made it.
I played professionally.
So I
played professionally. I didn't play in the big leagues, but I played professionally, which was good enough to have an opportunity to play there.
Right. So so how long were you with the Yankees for that?
With the Yankees playing, I was there two and a half years, and then worked there was fortunate. I worked for the Yankees for 6 years.
Okay.
Then I went to Cleveland and worked there, and actually got my first big league job in Cleveland, and then kind of bounced from there.
Gotcha. And so was your goal to always get to manager level?
No, that's a great point. My goal was to get to the big leagues, to be a coach. And I was a hitting coach, and I was a major league hitting coach for 14 years. And, when you're a major league hitting coach, as you talk about fans, you're hired to be fired, and I got fired a couple times.
Yep.
And the second time I got fired, I was in Tampa, which is where I live now. I currently live in the St. Pete Beach area.
Okay.
And it was kind of one of those crossroads in my life of like, continue to be a hitting coach or think about transitioning into something different. And I give my wife Allie a lot of credit. We had the opportunity to be a hitting coach a couple places, and she's like, hey, what do you want to do? And I said, I think I want to manage now. And she's like, all right, we got to broaden out. And was fortunate, got a job with the Blue Jays in Toronto, doing something different that kind of expanded my horizons.
Sure.
Was able for people in the industry to look at me besides something as a hitting coach, and was fortunate after a year there, went to Minnesota, and then got the opportunity to manage here.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, I mean, you became the Pirates manager in, what was that, 2020?
2020.
Did you know it was coming? Like, was it something, like, how does that work? Like, for someone that doesn't realize, like...
I think that's a great question. And, people just assume...
Because you don't go out and apply for it, right?
It happens. People just assume, like, hey, this is how it happens. I'd applied, or not applied, I had interviewed for 5 managerial jobs before I got this one.
Okay.
And, there's different circumstances of why you don't get jobs and who you choose and what and whatever. But I think the experience was good. The strange thing for me is I don't know if you remember at the end of the 19 season, they let not only Clint go, but then they ended up letting the front office go.
Right.
Well, the initial front office that was here, I actually interviewed with.
Okay.
So I came in, interviewed for the job with the previous regime.
Okay.
And was also interviewing for another job at the time, too. And then right in the middle of the interview process, they cleaned house.
Yeah.
So I got a call from Travis Williams, who's the president now, and ended up taking over and said, hey, we still want you to, make us aware of what your plans are with this other job if you get offered. And then Ben came in. Mm-hmm. So I actually interviewed twice for the same job with 2 different groups of people.
Man, that's wild. I feel like that's not very common, right?
No, and I think one of the funny things about it is the first time I was in town and we went to dinner, had a nice dinner and part of the interview process. When I flew back into town, went to the same place, and as we're walking in, Ben says to me, hey, have you ever been here before? And I was like, yeah, about a month and a half ago, I sat in that booth and got interviewed.
A little familiar. Did you order the same thing?
I think I actually did. Which I liked it. So might as well go back.
That's great. I'm curious. What do you eat? What do you like to eat?
What do I eat?
Yeah.
Well, as I told you when we started prepping for this, I don't eat any fish. I don't really kind of go outside the norm.
Sure.
My favorite things, I love pasta.
Great.
I'm a huge pasta fan.
That's a win.
I'm a huge pizza fan.
Okay.
I like steak, but if my 2 staples, like if I could eat anything all the time, it would be pasta and pizza. Now, my wife would tell me I shouldn't do that all the time, and I should eat healthier, but I think it's a situation where, that's where I'm at. I'm married to an Italian woman, so why wouldn't you eat pasta?
I mean, I feel like pasta is just like, it's a win-win. Like there's nothing, it's not always great for you if you eat a ton of it, but if you eat good pasta, I think it's actually pretty good for you.
Right, and I'm actually excited because you asked me a few questions coming in, but pesto is one of my favorites.
Fantastic.
So that fires me up a lot.
So when I originally started the podcast, my plan was that for every episode, I was going to cook like the guest their favorite dish or a dish that's like very nostalgic to them or something. But then since Cody's episode, I like the challenge of being able to come up with a dish I've never made before that's inspired by the guest. It kind of like gets me to think outside the box. And allows me to kind of like feel like an actual chef again, and like I'm actually being creative and cooking something fun. So I'm excited for this one today. Again, not really sure how it's going to turn out, but we'll see. So
I'm excited. I'm excited for it too. I think you kind of hit on a lot of the things. I love the fact that you're infusing a little bourbon in it.
I figured I had
to.
I mean, when I googled Derek Shelton, bourbon came up quite a bit.
That's a little scary. That's one of the things that comes up at the top. But I think the people in Pittsburgh know that is a love of mine. We've been talking about it since I got hired.
Yeah. All right, let me run this real quick. This might be loud for a second. Get this in here real quick. We're going to add some Parmesan cheese, and then we'll add in the olive oil, and we'll be good to go. So you said you like pesto. I'm assuming you've probably never had sunflower seed pesto?
I don't think I have.
Because I definitely have.
That's something that...
And I think it should taste pretty similar.
It's interesting, and I'm excited about it.
It is pretty tasty.
I just love the amount of olive oil that you're using. That's...
There's no
straight to my heart right there.
There's no shortage of olive oil.
That you weren't measuring it. We were just going.
Oh, we're just going for it. So back to baseball. Before you came here for your interviews. Had you ever been to Pittsburgh before?
Yeah, just as an opposing coach.
Yeah.
And I think you know about the history. I mean, the ballpark, and I'm biased, and I mean, even before coming in, biased. It's the most beautiful ballpark in America, and I think it continues to be voted that way.
Yeah.
I think it's a blessing and a curse for us a little bit because we always end up with opposing fans here.
Yeah.
But everyone you talk to, it's like, well, I want to come see your ballpark.
It's
amazing. A landmark of people coming in, and with the bridges behind it. But it's funny, I think the first time I was actually here as an opposing coach was opening day in 18, and it snowed throughout the first 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a blizzard.
Didn't this year opening day, wasn't it kind of like a snowy, rainy mess
we got snow, and we got hail, and we got a little bit and I think that's one of the beautiful things about Pittsburgh is you wait about 20 minutes and the weather's going to change, and you're going to get pop-ups, and we have we have weather almost every night during the summertime.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So do you like Pittsburgh? Now that you've been here for, the better part of 4 years, what do you think about it?
I love it. I mean, my family loves it. I mean, my oldest has moved here.
Cool.
He's living here full time.
Yeah.
And working. It's the people are so genuine. They're so honest, and I think that's the thing that I love the most about it. Whether it's being happy, being sad, being happy, being mad.
Yeah.
Their passion. It's just a passionate place. And I really think we're seeing that this year as our team has continued to get better.
Yeah.
We're really seeing the baseball passion come out in the groups. And since the All-Star break, starting right away with like Yinzer Palooza when we played the Phillies and having 2 sellouts that weekend, and just how engaged the fan base has been, you're really seeing the passion.
I mean, when PNC Park is bumping, there's nothing like that.
There's nothing better. You know, I mean, Bednar coming in the 9th with Renegade playing, and
unreal.
Everybody's getting after it. But that is the thing that I think I've really seen, because I've always lived for 5 years. 4 of the 5 years we've lived downtown.
Yep. And
just to see people in the streets and see the passion and how they feel about it, it really kind of warms you to the city.
Yeah. So what's on an off day in Pittsburgh? What do you like to do?
Well, this year it's a lot of dinner with, like I said, my oldest lives here, so it's the time I get to spend time with Jackson and just go to dinner and hang out.
Yeah.
With this year being a little bit different, with my youngest and my wife not being here because of Gianna's going into high school.
Sure.
It's more just I spend a lot of time at the park. If they're here, we try to get out and see the sights a little bit, but usually it's just trying to get a good dinner in somewhere.
Yep.
I have the tendency, I'm a little bit of a person of routine, so it's usually the same restaurants.
Yeah.
And just making sure, maybe go to the Clemente Museum and have a glass of wine and hang out downstairs a little bit, but those are probably the things I'll do.
Yeah, I feel like you guys don't get that many off days anyway. It's a long season. I feel like the last thing you want to do is spend your time doing something really crazy, Now
I'm getting to do a cool podcast today and get a good meal out of it. So
man,
that's
we're lucky to have you. That is
different.
one thing that I will say. I think we said it in episode 1 is it hasn't been a very hard sell pitching to guests that, okay, I need you on my podcast, but I'm also going to feed you a meal. Like most podcasts, you don't get a meal out of it, so it's a good little selling point that we have here.
Well, I think the other thing too is, and we were talking about it before we got on. I mean, you and I have not known each other long, but I've known about you because, you used to cook for guys that played for me. And I remember specifically Joe Musgrove talking about you my first year, because Joe was here my first year in 2020, talking about your food and talking about how good it was. And, then we were talking about how good of friends you guys have become. So I think knowing you and then following, I love the egg stuff on Instagram, being able to follow that. And then the different places you're going, always looking for recommendations of places to go eat. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been, a weird life to navigate outside of restaurants, but, I get to do cool stuff like this now and still kind of do what I love. So it's great. So if you had to pick, I'll give you 3 top away ballparks to go to.
Ooh, top away ballparks to go to.
Yeah.
The first one is Minnesota.
Really? Okay.
I love going to Target Field.
Yeah.
A little bit biased because spent 2 years there.
Yep.
As as the bench coach there. Just the city itself, the fact that it's downtown, the energy in the ballpark, and it's beautiful. The backdrop, the ballpark itself, San Francisco, Oracle. I think it's called Oracle now. They
that sounds
changed
right.
names.
Yeah.
And I think that one's really unique and beautiful just because of the fact that the water's behind it. So
Sure.
you get the scenery, very similar to PNC where you have the Allegheny behind it and you have the bridges. There you have the beautiful Pacific Ocean and the sight line.
Yeah.
And then I think the last one would probably be Seattle.
Okay.
And that's very similar too, just because Seattle and Colorado are the same, because Colorado on clear day, you can see the Rocky Mountains, you can see the things behind it.
Right.
So I think aesthetically, that's kind of the way I look at it. Now, if you're talking about where to work or, the working environment, that changes it all up. But just aesthetically, those are probably 3 or 4 ballparks that really come to mind because they just have beautiful settings behind them.
So how does it work when you guys go to another city for an away trip? Like, do you get free time?
Your free time is usually in the morning.
Okay.
Going up to, because we'll go to the ballpark 1 o'clock-ish. The really cool times are when you have day games.
Yeah.
Going to Chicago is fun a little bit because I grew up there and that's part of it. But they play a lot of day games. So then you have the ability to go out and have dinner at night. Or if you get into a city and you have the ability to have dinner the night before, that's something, especially after having been in the league for 19 years, you have places that you want to go and you want to try. And then you have friends in different cities that are like, can take you to restaurants. Being able to have dinner someplace is kind of a cool thing because breakfast spots, I'm a diner guy, so I'm probably going to find a diner to go to if I'm going to have breakfast. But being able to have an off day or day game where you can go get a meal is something that's nice.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. What's your go-to order at a diner? I love a great diner.
Oh, I love diners. And it's funny when my wife and I first started dating, I was working for the Indians, now Guardians.
I thought you were about to say you work at a diner. And
no,
this is great.
I did not work at a diner, but we did a lot of diner eating back then. I'm eggs over medium.
Yeah.
If you can get some, I'm a big pork sausage patty guy. I love the patties. I don't know if we talk specifically about restaurants in town. I'm a huge Kelly O's guy.
Really?
Oh,
I haven't been there in quite a while.
I love to go sit at the bar at Kelly O's and they got the great sourdough bread.
Oh,
that's diner. That's a great breakfast. And I'm actually a little partial to Kelly O's because the day I interviewed for the job the second time, like we were talking about, I had breakfast at Kelly O's with one of the assistant GMs.
So it's got a special place in your heart.
And we lived in the Strip for a while, so it's nice to go and get some good diner food.
Yeah, that's amazing. How's the year been this year? You guys have a pretty incredible team with some incredible talent. And, what's it like having, obviously I think everybody is fascinated with what Skeens is doing, but I just feel like this is the most complete team that I've seen in the past couple of years. So how exciting is that for you as a manager? Or, what are your thoughts on it?
I think exciting is the key word. And one of the things we've talked about since we've been here in the 5 years is we have to keep getting better.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that's happening. And the biggest part of it when Ben Cherington came in and became the GM is he was like, we're going to stick to our process. And I understand at times that process gets frustrating, but we have done that and we've gotten better. And now you're seeing the people we've drafted, whether it's Skeens or Jared Jones or, Mitch Keller is coming to his own. And, we've extended Brian and Key Brian and Mitch. So we have that core nucleus group of people. And then, again, like you mentioned, you add Paul into the mix, which some excitement. And the fact that we're playing better baseball, people are coming and they're excited about it. And that's that energy that we've seen at PNC Park over the last 2 months.
Yeah, no, there's nothing like it. It's really, it's just fun to watch, I feel like that's probably my favorite thing to do in the summer is just going to the ballpark. And especially I have a 3-year-old now, so he just loves running around, going to the playground there and stuff. And it's really hard to beat a summer at a ballpark game,
Yeah, and I think the thing they've really done over the last couple of years at PNC is it's so family friendly. There's so many things to do.
Yeah.
On both sides of it. They put the new bars in the outfield, so there's places for adults to go. And then, they have the playground area. which is really cool for kids. And there's space for everybody. And then the energy of just being at a ballpark for a family.
It's amazing.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I'm just glad that you guys kept dollar dog nights. Because I heard some teams got rid of them this year, and that's always a favorite of mine.
I really think the one thing that our business side does a good job of in the off season is listening to the fans of, hey, these are certain things we want. I know that's been important. 2 years ago we took away the out-of-town scoreboard. Yeah. And we had a season ticket holder forum in the wintertime, and 30 people brought it up. Wow. I was actually really happy because I hated that it went away too. I like watching the out-of-town scores. But the one thing that our business side does a really good job of is they listen to the fan base of like, hey, we really want, we want these things, or we like these things, and making sure we incorporate that into the experience at PNC. Because like you said, you have a 3-year-old, it's experience. I mean, he's not going to stay locked into the game the whole time.
I mean, when we go, we're lucky if we're in our seat for an inning. Like, besides that, we got to walk around, do the laps, all that kind of stuff. So you need those other things to do and just to keep you entertained. All right, so now we're going to get the sauce going here. Like I said, this is going to be like a bourbon cream sauce type thing. I don't really know what to expect from it.
Well, you're putting olive oil, peppers, and bourbon in.
It can't be terrible.
So it's
cream, butter, it should be.
I mean, there's nothing in there.
There's nothing in there that's bad.
Not going to be bad.
Right. It should work out pretty well. What kind of bourbon do you drink? Because I feel like people that drink bourbon, they're bourbon people. They know their bourbons.
I want to say that. It's funny because, like I said, our first awareness of each other is probably through Joe. Yep. And Joe is also a bourbon collector like myself, and I actually have a pretty good thread going with him and some other guys that played here before with bourbon. Yeah. And I have a very large collection. Like Kevin Newman was just in town, and we traded a bottle. Cool. My favorite bourbon is probably Old Fitzgerald. Okay. Because they make it in different years. You can get it whatever their distilled year is. Yeah. I am not partial. I'm not a huge rye guy. Okay. I will say, and I'm gonna be a little biased here, but Wiggle here in town, who is actually owned by Bob, our owner. Yeah. They really have some good bourbon. Really? They have a good their cast strength, their reserve, their 8-year is a good bourbon, so we'll drink that. And then it's funny, like Maker's Mark makes a really good bourbon for one of the hotels downtown. They have their own barrel. Cool. And have gotten a couple of those. So my hobby has become as much collecting it as it is drinking it, because during the season it's you can have a glass every once in a while, but much to the chagrin of my wife, because it's taking over too much space in my office in our house in Florida. I have started to collect a lot of it.
Interesting.
Do you drink bourbon?
No, I don't. I mean, I feel like I'm always trying it and stuff, but it's not for me. Yeah, I can't do it. I'll drink beer. I'll drink I drink a lot of gin.
I drink a lot of gin too.
I love gin.
Maybe I shouldn't say I drink a lot. I shouldn't say. So there's a different transition, because I do have a favorite gin. Do you have a favorite gin?
No, but I like a ton of gins.
Okay.
I'm always trying different gins.
So I got a gin. If you have not tried, have you tried the Monkey 47?
I have not.
Oh, no. Okay. We got to get you a bottle of that. Yeah, it's a game changer. Our pitching coach, Oscar Marine, his wife, Jenna, is English. Okay. And they're the one that introduced me to it. Wow. It's game changer gin.
Is it super florally, junipery?
It's got its own floral taste to it. It's a completely different taste. It's got a different smell to it. Yeah. I mean, it's a gin that you can honestly drink on the rocks if you want. You don't even have to mix it with tonic or whatever you like to mix it with. But Jenna introduced it to me last year. I got a bottle for my birthday, and I'm actually kind of excited. I just got another one from them this year. So it's a good gin.
Yeah, I'm big into into gin. I'm also really big into just drinking a really good Negroni at home.
Do you make a good Negroni?
I think I make a pretty damn good Negroni.
See, that's good. I don't think people make a lot of good Negronis. So the fact that
I've been out and I've had some really bad Negronis before, but I think I've kind of mastered it. All right, we're gonna get some bourbon in here. Is this a good bourbon?
Yeah, you're doing Woodford?
Yeah.
You're doing well.
I had no idea what I was looking for when I got it. We're going to try and not burn the house down.
And I'm also telling you, like, a bourbon guy will tell you, like, if you're cooking with bourbon, probably wouldn't cook with high-end bourbon. So you're cooking with a good bourbon that is going to taste.
I mean, my thing was like I knew this was like somewhat decent, and I think any alcohol that you cook with, it shouldn't be like a really terrible one. It should be one that you would drink, but also not like
something crazy. Is that the same way with wine?
Hey. Stop, drop, and roll.
There we go. I didn't expect that. That kind of shocked me a little bit. A little heads up with like, hey, we're going to fire
I did not know it was going to be that big. That's okay.
What about wine? When you're cooking?
I love wine.
So, but when you cook with wine, do you cook with, what kind of wine would you cook with?
Usually whatever I'm drinking.
Really?
Yeah.
Just kind of mix it in?
Yep. Yeah. Like a lot of the restaurants that I used to work in, like we would just use like a box of like Franzia or whatever.
Okay.
Just because of the quantity we're using and like cost and stuff. But when I'm cooking at home, like whatever I'm drinking, I'll just open up or if I'm not drinking, I'll open up what I want to drink.
Right.
And then use that. Because I think it really does translate to the end product.
Red or white or?
So I used to be, it's everything now.
Right.
I used to be really big into reds, like really dry, heavy reds. But I've gotten more into different whites and rosés and stuff. But I'll drink anything, to be honest.
But cooking with it, it really doesn't matter which one
I don't think,
putting in.
No. Depends on what you're making, but. All right, we're going to let this kind of simmer away. So you said you eat a lot of pasta. What shapes of pasta are you eating? What's your go-to shape? My
go-to shape, if I had it, I like, and I know this sounds weird, I like the angel hair. I like the finer, or what's it called, cavatelli, the smaller one. I do like that.
It's time for him to go.
Which it's funny because that's what everyone says. Any noodle pasta, and I think the reason I like that is just because I like red sauce.
Yeah.
I like the cream sauce, so you can put it with it. You don't like angel hair?
I hate angel hair. I can't stand it.
Really? Why not? What would you prefer to cook with?
Anything but.
Really?
Like I really, really hate and a lot of people I know love it and it's their go-to. I can't stand it. I just think it's really hard for like a lot of sauces to incorporate with it properly, and two, it like very quickly will turn to not mush, but like it'll overcook very fast.
Okay.
And I just think that my main thing is that I think there's so many other better shapes of pasta. I get heated about it.
So here, that's good. I saw your reaction right there. I don't know if the fire reaction or that reaction was the thing. I think one of the things I like about it, I'm a huge sauce guy.
Yeah.
Like this has fired me up.
Yeah.
Like I like sauce. Even you and I were texting the other day about being in Chicago.
Yep.
In pizza.
Yeah.
Like there's this old fight in Chicago of like which do you like Geno's? Do you like Giordano's? Do you like Lou Malnati's? I'm a huge Giordano's fan just because there's so much sauce on it. So I like the sauce portion of it, and I think I like the angel hair like kind of soaked in the sauce.
I'm like,
am I still going to get this meal even though I said this, or how's this going to work now?
We'll find out. That was a curveball, no pun intended, but that was a curveball. All right, so I have a question. If you had 10 swings of the bat, how many are going out of PNC Park?
For me personally?
Oh, yeah.
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah, I told you, not a good player.
But you're better than average. Like, you're better than the normal person.
I'm also old now, too. So.
Like, in my mind, I'm pretty sure I could hit 10 out of 10.
Out of PNC Park?
Oh, yeah.
Then we're definitely going to do that. We're going to do that and put that on a later podcast to
No, but I
test
feel
that.
like I could probably hit one. Maybe, like, where's the shortest part of PNC? Left field?
Well, it'd be, are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Okay, so it'd be, for you would have to pull it, so it'd be right down the line at left. Well, I don't think you're going oppo. I mean, are we, maybe we're not evaluating your skills very well.
I think I'm putting one in the Allegheny.
You really? You think so?
Absolutely.
We are
not.
definitely doing this because the angel hair portion of this is that's the transition.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to get you out there to take some swings. Then we got to do that.
Yeah, no, all jokes aside, I do feel like it's one of those things. Like I feel like hitting a Major League Baseball might be one of the most difficult things in all sports.
Oh, I agree with that. I mean,
like it's got to be,
especially now with all the technology, and guys are throwing the ball harder. They're spinning the ball more. It's the most challenging thing, and I think that's why we're seeing offense in general in the game is such a challenge now.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched some things on like YouTube and stuff of people like analyzing how like many milliseconds the batter has to decide, and it's just like even yesterday I was listening to the game on the radio, and I think it was O'Neal Cruz had like late in the game like a 10 or 12 pitch at bat.
Right.
And I'm like, how is this dude still putting the bat on the ball? Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think in that at bat, every single pitch was 97 to 98.
It's unreal. I mean, because when you look at a baseball and then you look at a baseball bat, like it's not much, like you don't have much room. And I mean, these pitches are coming in at 100 miles an hour.
Right.
I really don't, like it is a true skill.
Well, there's such a fine line too, because I mean, you can still contact the ball, but if you don't get it flush on the barrel, it's not gonna be hit hard. So there's so many factors that go into they're involved in it.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a skill, but it's just one of those things like in my little mind, it's like I've been watching the Olympics all week. Like I feel like I could do half of that stuff. Like
that's the great thing is you started earlier in the podcast, you were talking about passion and you were talking about people.
Yeah.
I think that's why people are passionate about it, because we sit and watch things that people make look really easy.
Yeah.
See, I'm not that way with golf. Terrible golfer.
Yeah,
but then I sit and watch guys on, hit shots around the bend or spin it in, and I'm like, oh, that can't be that hard. But then you go out and you put a golf club in your hand and you realize,
I mean,
that's really
I
hard.
golf quite a bit. That's probably my favorite thing to do besides cooking. And after Bryson won the U.S. Open this year with that bunker shot, the next round of golf I played, I was in a bunker from like 5 yards off the green. I was like, if Bryson can do it from 50 yards, I can do it from 5. And I couldn't even get out of the bunker. It's real bad, but...
See, I like your honesty, though. You could have been like, nah, I hit a really good shot.
Would you believe me, though?
I would. Oh. I trust you.
All right, cut it back. Okay, this is coming together. We're going to put a little bit of lemon in here.
Is there one go-to ingredient you have for most dishes? Like, is there...
It's probably lemon.
Lemon?
To be honest, yeah. So...
And the reason, because you said in Cody's episode, didn't you lemon some...
Yep, there was lemon in that one, too. It honestly, especially in like a cream sauce like this, where it's like very fatty and rich, it really kind of like cuts through everything and brightens it up. And like, just when I was back working in restaurants, lemon or acid was really used as like side by side with salt and pepper, like as a seasoning. It just became one of those ingredients that was kind of fundamental in every dish. Not always lemon, but like some sort of acid. So it's something that I've kind of still to this day, like I'll put it in things that aren't always even unconventional. Like I'll put it on like a bolognese when I make, like I'll top it with lemon zest.
Really? That's interesting. You're saying just like with salt and pepper. So it's a staple then.
Yeah, it really changes the dish. All right, this is tasting pretty good.
How's that bourbon?
It's actually, now that you say that, I think I need to add a little bit more. The thing is with as I've cooked with bourbon.
Is there going to be more fire here? Just give me
no more fire. So we're not going to cook off the alcohol in this part. So we have the flavor, but I want a little bit more of that raw bourbon flavor in it, because I'm glad you said something, because I kind of almost forgot about it when I just tasted that. So we're going to add some more. I can smell it though, for sure.
Yeah, it smells phenomenal.
Now I can actually really smell it. I mean, that bourbon it's smelling good. Have you ever had this shape of pasta before?
I don't think so. But it's going to be one of my favorites now.
It better be.
Smart enough to realize that now.
So we made this before you got here. So this is radiatori, kind of like little radiators. And I just think they're great. They hold the sauce so well. And they're really, really, they're just fun.
How long does it take to make pasta?
So these ones, I cheated. And we'll put up a clip now for you guys to see us making it, but I used a machine, like an extruder machine.
Okay.
So I put the flour and water in there, and then it basically does all the work for me. I'm just like cutting them out as they come. These I couldn't make by hand. This is like an extruded pasta shape. I mean, they're still technically handmade because I made them like with the machine and stuff. But if I would make like a batch of flour and egg dough, like if we would have done fettuccine or something today, it would take maybe 10, 15 minutes. It's really not long.
Really?
Yeah, it comes together pretty fast at this point. I've just done it so many times. And
is there harder ones to make or easier ones to make?
Shapes of pasta?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's
just the more intricate the shape, the harder? Or?
The more intricate, and just as I've kind of gone down the rabbit hole of learning pasta, because for the better part of my career, I wasn't doing pasta. So as over the past couple of years, I've learned it. I've learned that there's just so many different like intricacies and nuances to different shapes that if you don't do it the right way, or if you don't pitch it the right way, like it's not the actual shape anymore,
right.
Which makes it kind of interesting. So we're going to, let me check on our chicken real quick, make sure that thing's not burning. So what's the off season like for you?
Being a dad.
You said you're in Florida?
Yeah, we live in St. Pete Beach, Florida.
Okay.
So like I was saying, Jackson, my oldest, lives here now. I have my middle one, Bella, is in school in Florida. She's a college junior.
Okay.
And then my youngest, Gianna, is a freshman in high school.
Okay.
So my wife is essentially a single parent for the entire season. So she's doing everything, especially with the youngest. And Gianna plays high school volleyball and club volleyball. So it turns into doing a lot of, trying to spend as much time. Fortunate, having two kids in college, they go away.
Yeah.
So with Jax being here now, it's better. Like you said, what are off days?
Yeah.
It's being able, like we had dinner last night after the day game, which is important. So being able to spend time with him, and then when we're home, because Bella goes to school in Tampa, and Gianna's at home. So it's just trying to spend really as much time with family as possible, because during the season,
how long of an off season do you actually get?
Well, in terms of actual days, I mean, once the season ends, so say the regular season ends the first week of October, I'll usually spend another week here just doing things.
Yeah.
And then we start February 12th in spring training.
Yeah.
I'll be up here 2 or 3 times for different things during the winter. We have the winter meetings, and usually, I mean, now as the manager, there's so much stuff going on all the time.
Yeah.
There's very little time where it's not time on the phone or doing something.
Yeah.
We try to get as much time to just get away from it as possible. I'm probably not as good at it as I should be.
Yeah.
But most of it's just, it's family-based stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense. I feel like any sport, whether you're athlete, coach, whatever, you're just, when you got that time away, you need to take advantage of the family time.
And I'm not, I don't really have any hobbies. That's that's probably something I should be better at.
Yeah.
I played golf a lot early, right when I got out of college, when I first started coaching, but now just don't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it. So
that makes it a little different.
That's kind of the other things. Like to get out on the water if we can.
Yeah.
And because we live on the water,
especially being down there.
Yeah, if we can do that, I think that's something that kind of relaxes
do you fish?
you. No, I don't fish. I tell people that I will bring the beer to your boat.
Yeah.
And we'll drink the beer on your boat, but I don't fish. I'd rather go out and just be on the water.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I get very motion sick, so I can't even do boats. Yeah, I can't. It's a big no for me.
Really?
Yeah, it gets bad.
So boats are like angel hair pasta. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not doing either one.
That's a hard pass.
Even on like a pontoon boat, or
especially.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we used to live down in Key Largo, and the one time my mom and stepdad came down to visit us for a week, and we decided to charter a boat to go deep sea fishing.
Oh.
Man, when I tell you, I was just hanging off the back of that boat the whole time. Like, it was miserable.
Deep sea fishing's a whole different animal, because you're going out and you can get in rough water.
And we were in rough water. I mean, it was
like, you need a perfect day if you're going to do that, unless you really like to fish.
Yeah, it was not the best time at all.
See, that's funny. You don't like the water, but you lived in Key Largo, because that's a prime,
and we lived right on the water, too.
That's prime place to be on the water.
I know. Yeah, we would go fishing out on our backyard, because our backyard opened up right into the water.
Right.
So that was nice, but yeah, I didn't want to actually be out there.
Not if you're going to be on a boat.
Yeah. All right, let's try this. Okay. That's good to go. That's the one nice thing here with fresh pasta, is that this cooks just so fast.
Really?
If this was dried pasta,
it takes longer to cook?
Yeah, 10 to 12 minutes, but with it being fresh, it really goes real fast. So if you were at a baseball park, at a game, as a fan, what would your go-to ballpark food be?
Oh, see, this is a great question. Can we go back to like food actually at a ballpark? Because I'm going to go back to growing up.
Yeah.
It would be in Milwaukee,
Okay.
either an Italian sausage or a brat.
Sounds so good right now.
And the one thing about Milwaukee, and I love when we go there because the clubhouse manager there gets it for me. Milwaukee has its own, they call it secret sauce.
Okay.
It's a mixture of barbecue sauce and I don't know, something else, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit of heaven. And they just douse either the brat or the Italian sausage in that in Milwaukee. So every year, or when we go there a couple times a year,
Yeah.
they sell it now, and he gets it for me. So like it's
sounds
a
unreal.
Shelton family staple. Like we will put it on things. Actually, I have 2 bottles in my office fridge right now that
Really?
some nights if we just have regular grilled chicken or a burger or something, I'll throw it on there. So that would be what I would go to, and then some
that
sort of
sounds
lager
amazing.
on top of it. You'd have to go to if you're at a game.
Yeah, that's ballpark food's the best.
What's your go-to? Maybe a dog if you're saying you like dollar dog.
I mean, it's hard to beat a hot dog
Yeah.
in a ballpark. There's just nothing like that.
What do you go on it? What do you put on it?
So I do mustard and raw onions.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, not a ketchup guy. Just
For
not me.
anything? Not a ketchup guy for anything? Or-
Actually, the only time I will do ketchup is at a baseball game with French fries. That's the only time. But besides that, I don't want it. All right, we're gonna load this up with just a little bit of cheese.
Yeah, this just looks like it's getting worse and worse. I mean,
This is gonna
this is going to be outstanding.
This is gonna work out, I think. All right. Let me pull the chicken out. Let's get this resting.
So that is one thing. If you go to Milwaukee, you got to go brat, Italian sausage.
Their stadium is it's outdoor? Or indoor?
It's covered. It's indoor outdoor. So
Okay.
they have the ability to open up a lot of it, very similar to Seattle, but
Yeah.
they have a roof that can go on for
Yeah.
for rainy days. But it's opened up most of the time.
I gotta ask, as we're finishing up the food here, what's it like in the dugout during a baseball game? Because I feel like that's got to be the most fun thing ever. Like just
That's the best part of my day. Well, from 6:40 to the end of the game, it's the best part because
Yeah.
there's so many other things going on, pregame. But once the game starts, that's the most fun. There's so many different conversations that are going on.
Yeah.
There's so many different personalities that are in there. So the interactions that you have within the group and the game itself provides so much drama and excitement.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and indifferent.
Yep.
That you can go through really quickly. And, one pitch ultimately can change the outcome of a game. It can change the outcome of a mood in a dugout. Just the whole overall vibe. But it's kind of like its own little community every day because everything's changing so constantly.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm assuming I know the answer to this because you've been in baseball for so long. Let's use Brian Reynolds, for example. He's up to bat. He takes a swing, crack. Can you tell right away that it's gone?
Yeah. I mean, there's times you can tell. Like the ball he hit the other night. I mean, 2 nights ago, the 2-run homer he hit against the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
As soon as he hit it,
Yeah.
everybody in our dugout knew. I mean, you can feel it. The ones that cause anxiety are the ones you don't know if they got it or not. So then you're watching the outfielder. You're watching the hitter's reaction will tell you a lot because they know when they catch something flush. Their reaction will tell you.
Yeah.
It's easier at home because you know your own ballpark.
Right.
Than it is in other places that you don't know. You don't know how the ball's going to carry, and that kind of affects it a little bit.
Now just as like a fan question, when you're on the dugout there, can you guys like hear the fans like shouting like, "Hey, sign this hat" or something? Like, can you guys hear that?
Yeah, you can hear
I
it.
always
I mean,
wonder.
depending on how the close of the proximity you are, but yeah, I mean, you can hear it. Most of it is, especially I think players do a really good job of it when they're on the field. There's so much other focus that's going on that it's tuned out. And I wouldn't say it's like white noise, the main thing that players can feel, or I think we can feel in the dugout, is the energy in and of itself.
Yeah.
And I think, like you pointed out, over the last couple months, you can feel the energy. You can feel when it starts to get loud.
Yep.
So those are the things that really come into play.
All I know is the next game I come to, I'm sitting right behind the dugout, and you're just going to hear me, Derek Shelton likes angel hair. And I'm going to start a little chant. We're going to get all PNC.
I don't know, how's that going to be? Is that going to be good or bad? Or
well, you'll find out.
Is angel hair is it looked down upon in Pittsburgh? Or
no.
Just
I mean, I think a lot of people do like it.
Podcast.
I think a lot of people do like it. We're going to add some more because I think it needs it. But we're just about done here. It smells good. It looks good. I think it tastes pretty good.
Smells great.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
See, this would be my problem if I could cook it all, which I can. It's just I would be eating the entire time.
Okay, I said this on Cody's episode. I'm going to say it again now. I don't usually say that my food is like really good. This is really good.
Really good?
Yeah, we did pretty good here.
That's awesome.
Okay, let me slice up this chicken here. We're going to get this plated, and then we got to see what you think. So far, 2 episodes in, we haven't had a guest spit it out yet, so that's
I'm
a plus.
super excited about it. It smells great. It's everything I like. You keep adding bourbon to it, so that can't be bad.
Gotta get on your good
What did you
side.
cook on the first episode? You told me on Cody's episode.
So the first episode with Josh and Abby, we did chicken parm with ricotta and gnocchi.
Oh, okay.
It was fantastic. It was really, really good.
Chicken parm's phenomenal.
I love chicken parm. It's hard to beat. Okay, let's get this plated up and see what you think.
I am going to comment before we start eating the fact that I do really appreciate you wore the Downtown T-shirt, which is
had to.
Jordan Colmedina, one of our coaches. That's his company. So when I walked in right away and saw that, I knew Jordy was going to be fired up. But I appreciate you not only repping the Pirates, but repping one of the coaches too. That's solid.
I will say that was when I started my journey on social media. Obviously, I knew that I wanted pasta to be a big part of, or be what I do. But even though I'm not from Pittsburgh, I feel like I'm an adopted Yinzer at this point. And so I really wanted, when people see my page and my videos and everything, I want people to think of pasta, but I also wanted to always kind of tie back into Pittsburgh. And so for a lot of my videos, like wearing a Pirates hat, wearing a Steelers jersey, whatever it may be, just to kind of really, I don't know, I thought it was always kind of important. And it's been fun. It's allowed me to connect with, people like you, a lot of the players and stuff, and really do some cool stuff.
I think that's important, and I think people appreciate it. I think that's one thing. We're talking about people in Pittsburgh. I think they do appreciate when people that are not from here, that come here and work or move here, how much they embrace being able to, be part of the community and represent it.
I mean, I think it's easy to, it's just especially like a sports city, it's just, that was the reason why when I first moved here, 7-8 years ago, whatever it was at this point, I loved that it was kind of like it almost feels like a small town, but in a big city, which it is. It's a small, big city, but I think it's something really special. And when people come here and they realize that, it's pretty easy to just buy right into it.
Okay. Have you used Yins yet?
No, I have not. I don't think I ever can.
Yeah, I don't think we can. I've been told that's
I think
something you're born and bred into.
That's saved for like the adorable old woman at Giant Eagle cashing me out like, hey, Yins, find everything all right. Like, yeah, I do.
But you love it when you hear it, don't you?
Oh, I love it. It's the best. When you hear it in the wild like that, it's amazing.
I like you use it in the wild, and I think the other thing is not being from here.
Yeah.
I love it when people use it, just in general conversation, and you appreciate it so much.
Yep, I agree. Okay. I don't want to forget the pesto.
This smells amazing.
Okay, let's do a little bit of pesto on this.
Sunflower pesto too. We got
Sunflower seed pesto.
Sunflower seed.
Do a lot of the guys eat stuff? Like, is that a real thing, or is that in my?
Yeah, no, it's a 100% real thing.
Yeah.
And you'd be amazed at how guys get like special flavors, or they'll get mad if we don't have the certain ones in the dugout.
I'm sure.
It's a 100% staple in a dugout.
Is bubblegum still a big thing?
Big thing.
Yeah?
Yeah. Huge thing. I would say the seeds are probably bigger. The biggest issue with seeds is the fact that, once they get spit out, it just, the birds.
Yeah.
Like you end up with a ton of birds on the field.
All right, here we go. So we have radiatori pasta with a bourbon cream sauce and a sunflower seed pesto, some roasted chicken, inspired by your love of bourbon and baseball. So enjoy.
All right.
Let me know what you think.
All
you
right,
can be totally honest.
I'm so excited about this.
If it's not good, please tell me. But I think
this is phenomenal.
Good?
Yeah, this is outstanding. Wow. The pesto's amazing.
It's pretty good. I like it.
You can taste like the hint of bourbon in there too, which is the first time I think I've ever had it on food, except maybe when I've spilled it on food before. But
I was a little nervous to do a bourbon cream sauce because I don't know if that's a thing. I'm not sure, especially in pasta. But the flavor's great.
It is now. Wow,
it's really good.
That pesto is amazing.
Well, good. I'm glad. Well, and you enjoy that. Thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. This was fun. And next time you see me, I'll be hitting dingers.
You'll be hitting homers at
PNC Park.
Right.
So I'll see you guys in episode 4. Derek Shelton Needs No Podcast. And that's it.